I'll add to that. Now that we have the match schedule, the times, that was a critical piece. Teams, obviously, as well. But we're working on our fan festival planning right now. Fair Park is the location of our fan festival, so looking at the operational time. Now that we have those match times, so we'll be looking at January to have a more public-facing event where we're able to share that out of what to expect, the timing there. We're also reconvening with our safety, security, and transportation teams to be able to mobilize the spectators and the fans, what those routes would be, what that timing looks like. So a lot of it is operational planning that over this next month, month and a half, we'll be focusing on now that we also know the teams, and hopefully by January, at least internally, have a good idea of what base camps we'll be working with. We'll work with each of those communities that secure a team, and work on the language services, the Texas hospitality that we want to continue to roll out. We truly want to welcome the world and these teams to the DFW region, and that'll take a little work. Keep in mind that FIFA also starts to move into the International Broadcast Center starting on January 14th at the Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center. So we'll work to help to facilitate that, but then also start working on the whether it's attractions, messaging, storylines to get with the broadcasters and media that are coming in and going to be spending a good 3 to 4 months here.
This question's for either Dan or Monica. Pero sí, there was a story first reported, I believe, by Diario Le that Argentina is having their base camp here. Can you guys confirm that report? Or if not, can you guys confirm, has Argentina visited the training camps to be possibly one of those countries to be here?
Yeah, I did see that report, and I was hoping it was right. But no decisions have been made at this point. They have been here. There have been a number of teams that have come here. So it made sense with the draw happening on Friday, with all the national teams here, that they've started traveling across the entire bid. So they're not alone in coming to Dallas. A number have come through, and we have multiple meetings scheduled. Like I said, we have 5 primary base camps, and we're going to try to fill every single one of them. So we're welcoming everybody here. Obviously, it would be a massive honor to have Argentina here. Their fan base is so passionate and so amazing. And to have them pick the Metroplex as a base camp opportunity, I think would be great for our community.
Hi, Eric Prisbell with the Dallas Morning News. I wanted to ask anyone about legacy, leaving a legacy. It's not just a 39-day event, obviously, but there's going to be countless visitors to DFW, to AT&T Stadium. How important is it to leave a mark with them that they will have and keep long after the event is finished?
Yeah, I mean, the legacy of the World Cup, I talked about it earlier. It launched professional soccer here, it created our youth soccer movement, pushed MLS forward. That was a promise we made to FIFA in 1994, was major Division I professional soccer. The legacy will be different from this one because professional soccer is established. My hope is it lifts all soccer, not just FC Dallas, but there are multiple professional leagues, the Women's League. Inspires generations of players to play. I mean, one day we are going to produce our own Lionel Messi in this country, and we're going to start to get athletes that might not pick football or basketball. But I think there's a much bigger legacy too, to show the world that this is truly a global city. We know it, we live here, and it is. And I pushed FIFA in that this is a global city, but we also have one of the most unique bids because of the cultural authenticity of places like Fort Worth. I just think it's going to help more major events come back here. Super Bowls, All-Star games. The Olympics has been something that people have asked about. The big one in front of us, obviously, is going to be the Women's World Cup, too. But Monica and her team have done an amazing job. But not everybody is also going to be a professional soccer player. There are going to be a lot of jobs created, and I hope people wind up as coaches and trainers, and I hope that businesses want to move here because they see what a dynamic community this is. I hope that our international visitors think this might be a great place to relocate to. So I think it will be a little bit different in that soccer is so established at this point. I mean, in '94, the World Cup was a novelty. It really was. It's so established. I think this is a much grander vision for what this can achieve, not just inspiring players. And people always ask me, I've been to every World Cup since 1986. I hope that families and friends get to create lifetime positive memories being here and having this experience that they can share for generations to come.
I'll just add on that, we have an entire legacy program, have built that out, going into actually starting in the bid process, and legacy takes on a look of many different things. We're looking at mini pitches in underserved areas. There's a lot of kids that don't have access to the sport of soccer. So have been working across various working groups and the various cities and municipalities to identify locations for those mini pitches. We're going to make our first announcement here for dedication in December, but also whether it's equipment that is needed. There are initiatives on the sustainability, human rights front. There are arts and cultural education opportunities. But for us to be successful with our legacy, it also means that the funding needed to go along. So we're very blessed with Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages and Choctaw, who have stepped up and, as we announced, as our first host city supporters, but are also working with many donors, both corporations and individuals and families and other nonprofits as well, to really create this legacy for us. So we'll be making continuous announcements through 2026, but a lot of the legacy will also then come after the World Cup.
Hey guys, Adam Rosso with Spectrum News. I know heat was a big discussion for the Club World Cup last year, especially the European teams that were over here. How much does that come up in your guys' base camp discussions with countries, whether it be from Europe or teams that are maybe more used to the heat from Africa or something?
Yeah, well, I'll start with the Jones family, and I made a promise to FIFA that it was going to be 72 and sunny inside AT&T Stadium. And Chad's been a big part of that, which actually a lot of the national teams are incredibly excited about. When you visit with them, one of the first things out of their mouth, besides how excited they are to come to Dallas and see the whole area, is that it's climate controlled. So they're focused on that. Yes, with the base camps, they've had the conversations, but it's not just Dallas. I mean, you can get incredibly high temperatures across the entire United States. And so there are also indoor training facility opportunities here. And like I said, every single national team has a different request list when you look at it. And you can imagine the bigger ones, it's quite substantial what they want. But yes, it's all part of the conversations. I have a feeling a bunch of the training sessions will be in the mornings or in the evenings. It's no different than what we do at FC Dallas. When it gets really hot, sometimes we move to night training, and I think you'll see that too. So yes, it's part of the conversation, but again, I think we have a massive advantage with it being climate controlled here at AT&T Stadium.
This question is for Chad. I am Jesus Padilla from Movid Hispana. When supposed to starting the jobs for the new grass here in this stadium?
When was the question? When? Yeah. So we still have 4 Dallas Cowboys games, two at home. So the season needs to play out. We're trying to hang on hope for a playoff spot. So maybe we'll be playing in January. We then have some events here in February, and when we finish up those events, we'll start the process of getting the stadium ready for World Cup, and that will include not just the grass install, but there's some widening of the pitch area in the corners, like a lot of NFL stadiums have had to do. So there's a construction project to go into the corners and remove some of our field suite areas to expand the surface. I don't know the exact date of the pitch install itself, but it'll be much closer to the games.
Oscar Almas, Spectrum News 1, with Dallas being so centric and so enticing for so many reasons, with these rankings allowing teams to get their pick, will there be a cutoff point of how many teams could be having their headquarters in Dallas?
We have 5 primary locations, and I think that with any luck, we'll fill, all 5. That would be an amazing accomplishment, and everybody has worked so incredibly hard. I want to also say a quick thanks to Jimmy Smith from FC Dallas and our grounds guys, Tom Jones and Nick Shaver. They have worked incredibly hard to recruit, but also the different municipalities. We hope we fill all 5. You do have to remember when you think about it, Argentina, England, Croatia, Japan, even Austria, I think all 5 are top 25 teams, and they're going to be playing matches here at AT&T Stadium. So, like I said, we hope that we don't just fill them, but we fill them with global powerhouses, and that'll be part of this legacy that is left. And I didn't hit on it, but having the International Broadcast Center here too is such an amazing accomplishment. In '94, my dad, Lamar, was chairman of the Dallas Bid, and he was so proud to have the International Broadcast Center at Fair Park. And really, for those that don't know, that's where the games are broadcast back from to their countries. And so this will be going back to almost 200 countries. So if you think about it, 9 matches, a semifinal, trying to fill all these base camps with top 25s, International Broadcast Center. This is an incredible legacy that the Jones family, our family is part of, the city of Dallas is part of. I think this will go on for generations.
Russell Scott, KRLD Radio. Any ideas on when the base camp selections will be made? And my second question for any of you, when you fill AT&T Stadium, thoughts on how many U.S. citizens and international citizens will be at these games?
Well, from a base camp standpoint, all of the teams will turn in their preference, 1, 2, 3, to FIFA in January. Then FIFA will analyze and they will make final base camp selections March or April time period. I can, from an international perspective, the data that we've received from FIFA earlier this year, about 54% of the attendees, ticket holders, as well as non-ticket holders, so those that come to the World Cup to just experience the World Cup and maybe fan festivals, about 54% international visitors. We'll be asking FIFA for, after this next ticket sale cycle here that starts on December 11th, we'll be asking FIFA for some additional ticket data representative of our matches here.
Yes, morning, Edwin Pareto Linares for Movida Hispana. Mr. Chad, you said about the $300 million for renovations, and you talked already about the pitch, but also some people think that AT&T Stadium is already a really big and nice stadium. So what includes those $300 million regarding just the pitch? What the fan could see that could be different for the next year at the World Cup?
Yeah, so the upgrades and the refresh, as we called it, that occurred over the last couple of years encompassed multiple things regarding the fan experience. We went into all of our premium areas, our suites, our clubs, and what we called a refresh, finish out, flooring, furniture, audio visual. So that encompasses, probably over 20,000 of the seats in the facility saw the spaces that are associated with those seats receive a refresh. We also went into our merchandise store, concession stands, and just added additional amenities throughout the stadium. So, I will tell you at the time, some people would come into our building and maybe say there wasn't a need for that. Our feeling was, and certainly Jerry Jones's perspective, was 17 years into the building, to make sure we maintain the quality of everything. It was time for a refresh, and certainly it was strategic. The timing of that, we started talking about that 4 or 5 years ago. Obviously a lot of planning goes into that, but to try and get that done for the World Cup was certainly intentional. And so yes, I think I go to a lot of stadiums throughout the world actually, and I think the refresh that we did helped a lot, but I think just in general, the stadium has stood the test of time and is going to show very well to people all over the world.
David Tafala, Fox 4. How early do you expect the teams in the group stage to arrive, and will practices be open to the public?
Typically speaking, they do not have open practices to the public. They may do one for their fan base, potentially, or a private event. Every national team is different, though. And so you may get some that are more open-minded to it. You know, we have some first-time qualifiers playing in the tournament. Jordan, Uzbekistan, Cape Verde, to name a few. So, you know, depending on where they are, they might be open. I imagine with a team like Argentina or the Dutch, they keep it much more tight. So, MLS season ends around May 15th, and I would expect that national teams, and that goes for really global leagues in and around there, they go right into training, and I think that the earliest you could see teams arrive is around between May 25th and June 1st for the visiting national teams to set up in their base camps.
Brian Clemens, Dallas Morning News. Chad, you guys were discussing Mr. Jones's, getting a little soccer education. I wondered if you have a favorite moment during this process that would maybe explain Mr. Jones's financial and emotional investment in this, whether it's maybe his reaction to the draw or some kind of meeting along the way.
Yeah, I think a couple things come to mind. So certainly when we first started discussing this, Jerry was familiar with the World Cup, and I think when the stadium was built, Super Bowls, World Cups, Olympics were all thought of as potential things that could occur in the stadium. I think I saw Jerry's enthusiasm for being involved in this grow substantially when he was told the media numbers of viewers that watched the World Cup, which would come as no surprise to those that cover Jerry and the Dallas Cowboys. I would also say, as we were certainly pursuing semifinals and the final, Jerry's competitiveness showed, and he, I think Dan and Monica would concur, he was willing to show up for anything to pursue that, and was very involved in meeting with the people that were making those decisions at FIFA to try and position us best for the biggest matches. So he was into it, he is into it, and so is the whole family is very excited about it.
I mean, this building has hosted more than 25 major professional soccer matches and Gold Cup over time, and it's somewhere in that ballpark. And so they do a first-class job. Chad said it, his team is amazing. And the setup, the Jones family has been engaged about it. They've attended matches here. My favorite moment was actually we were down at the AT&T Performing Arts Center, and Jerry and I were in the green room sitting there talking after. And for those that don't know, Jerry tried to buy an NFL team when he was 25 years old. He came to see my dad. And so that friendship with our family has been going on for a long time. But to speak with him, feel his passion, and truly see how much he understands what this means, and he views this as a big part of his overall legacy outside of the Dallas Cowboys. And I think he's just incredibly proud, as is the